Good evening, everybody. For my technology presentation, I have chosen to present on using FlipGrid in an elementary classroom. If you're not familiar with FlipGrid, it is an app and website where students can collaborate together to create short videos as like a response to a prompt or as a way to explain their thinking through like making short videos. This was used quite a bit by my colleagues during the pandemic when we were home and having to learn from home. And ever since then, I have been really enjoying using it. I do use it sparingly in my classroom, and the kids really like it. It's very engaging, it's very fun. But one thing that I have not used it for is our writer's workshop. Right now, my kids are currently doing like handwriting. There's a really big emphasis in handwriting at my school for the first half of the year. And so, starting in January, they really want us to get into writing, like different pieces and things. So, I could really see FlipGrid working for during that time. Not all the time, obviously, but for that time for the conferring bit. So, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go through my presentation on how I plan on using FlipGrid in my classroom. All right, so on my screen, I'm just going to start my slideshow. And I am going to be presenting on using FlipGrid during writing workshop. Um, so, of course, if you've never heard of FlipGrid before, FlipGrid is a website that students can use to film short clips of themselves and then they post them onto a classroom forum. I will be showing how to start a classroom forum as well as showing you how to post a video. Um, but FlipGrid can be used. I have used it in the past to track reading fluency. Being previously in special education, this was my tool for um, tracking reading fluency goals on IEPs because it is just a really easy way to have everything that you need on a forum. And it's only accessible by a link. And so I would use FlipGrid to have like an actual representation of what my students were doing every 2 weeks when I would track it. But it is a safe, engaging, and collaborative space for students to interact with each other. I really, really enjoy FlipGrid. And down here, this is kind of what a forum would look like, but we'll get into it. So, in my first grade classroom, I do use FlipGrid very sparingly. And the reason why I use it sparingly is because we are not one to one. I have used it in the past for students to share, like, about me, a short introduction. They really enjoyed it. And that was just more so for me to explain how to use it. And it was just a really fun way for them to use technology in the classroom, but they just were sharing about themselves. Um, One thing that I really like about it is that students can respond to each other, or you can just have it to where the teacher responds to the students. And I really enjoyed that. You can respond back in a really authentic and timely manner, too, which is great. Um, I could totally see myself using this um, sometimes for conferring with writing. I obviously wouldn't use it all the time because there's nothing better than like being able to actually see how a student is writing and what they're doing. But it just would offer a really fun way, an engaging way for them to receive feedback. In my opinion, I think it would support all students, really, no matter what stage of development they may be in, just because it's a way to share and show what they've written. So, for example, it is a way for them to read their writing and then show their writing and maybe their illustration or labels to go with their piece. So with that, I'm going to exit out of my slideshow, maybe. Sorry. For some reason, my escape. Okay, sorry about that. So then what I do, I'm going to take you guys through FlipGrid here. I am at what students will see. So for example, this is what students are going to see when they access my direct FlipGrid link. So my friends or my students, for example, this is their page. On the top, it has like the heading of what they will be submitting. So, for example, if I had them write an acrostic poem of their name, they would click on add response, and then it would show whoever on the camera. Obviously it's me. And it would give them a minute 30 seconds to record, and then from there, so students can press this record button, and then they'll be recording their response. Obviously I'm not going to sit here and record a response, but this is where students would be able to, I'll show you. Let's say this was their writing. They would be able to read it, show it, and then the rest of the class would be able to watch their response, and the teacher could respond as well. So I'm going to pause this. And then after that point, after they've recorded, they're going to hit next. And then they'll be recording their response. They can edit it, and then they can put in their name. So name, poem, and then their name. And then they post a topic. It's going to update, verify, all that good stuff. And then their video will be under the topic, which is really nice. So this is all going to fill up, and then students will be able to either click on another student, or the teacher can respond back to the student, which is really, really cool. So how can a teacher start a FlipGrid page? It's really easy. It is free. All you have to do, I'll sign out and I'll show you the sign in process. You can easily sign in with your Google account, or you can create an account, and you can choose whether it's a classroom account. So let's just do this one. This is obviously your main page. I have one group, which is my class, 1V. And then from there, like I said, you can create a group for your class. Oh, awkward. Their service is not available right now. But if you were to create a group, this is obviously what the group would look like, where the students could post. Sorry, that's not working. That's kind of frustrating. But anyway, the research. There is lots of research out there about using technology in the classroom, but there's not a whole bunch of research on FlipGrid itself. But I was able to find a lot of what research said about using these types of technology tools during writing. So FlipGrid is can be a valuable experimental learning tool, and it enables educators to engage students in a variety of learning and assessment activities. I really like the idea of using FlipGrid as sort of a way for students to give more of an authentic assessment. We all have so many different types of learners in our classroom, and being able to give them an authentic way to show what they know is so important. And I really, really feel like that's very important. Students receive feedback that they can apply based on the instructor's multiple reviews of their performance, unlike a one-time skill review done in class. I totally agree with this. I'm able to respond on their writing and what they've shared via FlipGrid, and then that gives me a way. It's just a very authentic way to respond, and it's a very engaging way to respond as well. But then also, too, I'm able to give multiple reviews. So, for example, if I have them revise something, maybe let's say in my response to them, they can go back, revise it, and then they can post another video to the forum if that was what they were doing at the time. But then also, too, there's also the bit of, you know, why would I use this in a first grade classroom? Why wouldn't I just do this all in person other than just, for engagement purposes? But having students read one another's writings and engaging in conferencing to identify readers' problems with one's texts can improve their communication skills. So overall, having kids just talk about what they're writing, in my opinion, really, really improves those communication skills, being able to talk with academic language, being able to explain what they're doing academically, in my opinion, is very important and very invaluable. And what I have seen just in my first grade classroom is that a lot of times I'll say, okay, read me what you've written. They'll read it to me and then they'll say, oh, that sounds right, but it doesn't look right. And then they'll go back and they'll edit their misspellings, or they'll edit for grammar, or they'll put spaces in between their words. So for my kids, I think it's very important that for them to be able to show um, not only communication skills, but just being able to read out loud their writing and be able to edit that in real time. So, of course, you will have access to my PowerPoint presentation, but attached is the references that I use to create this presentation. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and you will see my face here in just a moment. I really hope that this technology tool will be a benefit for you and your students. It truly has been a benefit to my students as far as engagement and just those communication skills go. But if you all have any questions, feel free to reach out. Um, like I said, I'm sure a lot of you all have seen FlipGrid being used, especially during the pandemic and when we were home. But yeah, I think it would just be great to use for writing development and writer's workshop. So I hope you guys have a great evening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.